Alright, well, I was muted that whole time. Y'all need to be on it a little bit more. I not looking at chat, so is what it is. Welcome everybody. It's Sentinels Week 5. My name is Righteous. Usually I'm joined here with Husky. That is not happening today. Had some work obligations, supposedly. Like we don't pay him enough here at Rivals. But let's jump into the matchup. That's what everybody is here for. So looking at the preview, number 2 versus number 3. It's a toss-up between these two teams. If you go across the stats, pretty even across the board. Rivals slightly ahead in terms of vision per minute, but then you look at the towers and the dragons. That's going the way of Plasma Wolves. So I expect this game to be a good one. I'm excited to see how these two teams match up. Here are the individual rankings for these players. Top to bottom for Rivals, you have Death Knight, Big Rev, Salusin, BKs, and CB the Barbarian. 56157. So all in the top 10 there. Across the way, Plasma Wolves. Could be Neptune Rises, Star Burrito, Silent Assassin, Nike Dragon, and Aoka. And everybody in the top 5 in their respective positions for Plasma Wolves. But like I said, these two teams expected to match up pretty evenly. So we will have to see how it unfolds on the Rift. Right now, we are waiting for Game 1 drafts. I am also waiting for my music to start playing. But that's not happening. Either way. Oop. Go back to the matchup screen, see if it works. Nope. Music's broken. Just waiting for everybody to ready up. And here we go. Game 1 draft between Rivals on the blue side and Plasma Wolves on the red. Coming into the matchup, like I said, expected to be pretty even. I'm excited to see how these teams attack each other in drafts. Immediately, Aoka garnering 2 bans from the support role. Milio and Lulu both out. Man, these bans are rapid fire. Oriana, Tristana, and Maokai hovered for Plasma Wolves. That last ban for Rivals was, of course, Star Burrito's Wukong, who has played it quite a bit here in Sentinel. Expect this Maokai to eventually get locked. We'll have to see what Plasma Wolves' prio is in regards to some jungle champions. It's going to be the Amumu locked by Plasma Wolves. So how does Rivals respond? Do they want to be one that Maokai pick? I don't believe it's contested. I am unsure if Plasma Wolves has put any time into it. We haven't seen Star Burrito play it throughout the season. Instead, it's going to be the Udyr locked in for Rivals. Passing on that Maokai. So, how does Plasma Wolves respond? Maokai hovered. I would personally be surprised if it was locked in. Not saying that Star Burrito doesn't play it, just haven't seen it yet, and it is locked in. And the Jinx is going to be locked in as well. So, solid team fight starting to develop by Plasma Wolves. Meanwhile, Rivals not showing too much information with that Udyr pick. It can be flexed. Could have to see how they round out the rest of this draft. It's going to be Misfortune Braum, the answer into the Jinx Maokai. Braum, a really good answer into the support Maokai, and as well as the jungle if it is flexed. Going to eat up that Maokai ultimate. It looks like it is going to be Maokai jungle as Soraka is hovered. I'd be very surprised Soraka was locked, but who knows? This is game 1 between 2 heavyweights here. Sector 1 of LXC Sentinel. Gonna be Janna instead. So I do expect the pushing power of Plasma Wolves to be a little bit more favored than that of Rivals there in that bot lane. If you guys have been watching Los Ratones, Reckless on the Janna, showing just how strong that champion can be if piloted correctly. We got some bans to look at. Cassante taken away from the Rivals side. The answer going to be Mordekaiser by Rivals. The Aurora hovered. Salo has looked pretty strong on that champion. Hasn't been locked yet, so we'll have to see. And it is. Rival's going to answer with Ari. So Plasma Wolves have the R4 pick here. What are they lacking? It could be a Maokai flex. So if they're going to preserve that flex, I expect mid to be picked up blind by Plasma Wolves. Silent Assassin has pulled out champions like the Echo, the Vex, the LeBlanc. And this time, it's going to be a Zoe. Okay. Zoe, a very unique champion. Always fun and exciting to watch when it is meta. Haven't seen it recently, but it has made a couple appearances in Sentinel. Don't know if Silent Assassin has played it. The only one I know for sure was from the bottom of the league. Persinger pulled it out in a loss, so might be sitting 0-1 for the league right now. LeBlanc is going to be the answer by Salo into this Zoe. So expect to see a lot of action between levels 1 through 3 here. Especially by the LeBlanc. The LeBlanc definitely wants to get the advantage of the counter matchup, which they opted into. On this last pick, Rivals deliberating. And it looks like it's going to be Jarvan secured. So unless it's going to be Jarvan top, that will be an Udyr top. What does Neptune Rises have in store for the Udyr pick? We have seen him on champions like Cho'Gath. The Mordekaiser taken away. Sion. We've seen him on Ornn. Shen. And it looks like it's going to be a lock for that Sion as the time expires. Looking at these two comps, we see a lot of team fight presence from both of them. You got the Sion, the Maokai, kind of setting up that Jinx with the Janna behind her. And then on Rival's side, you got the Braum and the Jarvan, of course. We'll call it the Ice Bucket. Trying to set up that Misfortune with the ultis. Some strong side lane presence from Rivals as well in the Udyr and the LeBlanc. But it could be answered nicely by Plasma Wolves, depending on how the lane assignments go. So I don't see too strong of an advantage in draft from either of these two squads. It's really going to come kind of execution, which is what we're here to see. We can talk about draft all day, but we really want to see how these two teams have at it on the Rift. Ready checks are coming through. I am going to pull up the predictions for you all. Got Rivals on blue. Plasma Wolves on red. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to get those predictions in. But yeah, like I said, I don't see too strong of a draft advantage. I will say, depending on how this mid lane matchup goes, either one that gets ahead, if either one does get ahead, can really look to damage the backline of the opposing members of the enemy team. Specifically, like, you know, if that Zoe gets ahead, going to be one-shotting you know, the Misfortune or the LeBlanc. LeBlanc gets ahead. Got 3 really squishy targets with not a lot of hard CC outside of the point and click Maokai W. So we will have to see what happens there. I will say we have a couple of follows to shout out. This is usually CB's job, but we do appreciate the support from Raised Cold, Zenithical, and Gus for life. Couple of Rivals and Plasma Wolves fans. We do appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, looking at the matchups, the lane matchups individually, right? I feel like Udyr should have a decent enough time into the Scion early. Should have some pretty good pushing power. Of course, the Scion will be able to clear under tower just fine. The Jarvan does have the option to maybe get a little aggressive early compared to something like the Maokai, especially in these skirmishes. You know, looking at the 1v1, 2v2, 3v3s. Maokai, of course, does have that strong ultimate available. The mid lane, we'll call it a skill matchup. I do think it's a little bit LeBlanc favored just because the sleep of Sokita is always kit. It's really going to be hard to hit onto a champion like LeBlanc. And then in the bot lane, we'll say it's Jinx Janna favored. The double ranged, of course, can get the advantage of the Braum, but of course, Braum does have nice setup for the Jarvan if the Jarvan decides to path that way. So this early game, I expect if there's going to be any early action, it's going to be Rivals that will be setting that tone, setting that pace with the Jarvan pick. Plasma Wolves heavily scaling. You know, we looked at these stats. I can actually pull them up here before we went into game. And, oh, right here, sorry. 36 minutes, the average game time for Plasma Wolves. That does include the 2 losses they suffered last week to OTLO. They definitely try to play scaling for that mid to late game. Letting Nike Dragon, who will be piloting a Jinx, kind of do their thing on those scaling champions. Zoe as well. The later the game goes on, the more her kit will pop. So we'll see. Rivals definitely likes to play with tempo in the early. It's going to be up to Plasma Wolves to respond in kind. But that is all I have in terms of this preview for game 1 between these two teams tied for first. Really, either of these teams, if they do secure a win, put themselves up nicely to secure that top 3 seed. Of course, 4 and 5, you play a play-in game before playoffs, so you want to stay out of those seed selections. So this win would go a long way to securing top 3 within the sector. So we'll have to see. We will have to see. That is it for me. We will see you after a quick break.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Welcome back, everybody, to week 5 between Rivals and Plasma Wolves. Week 5, of course, of LXC Sentinel, and it looks like we might have a little bit of a kerfuffle brewing here early. Interesting. Both of these teams so close to meeting each other. The back's coming through. Uh-oh. Aoka does stop the back. A big Q from Neptune Rises means CB is forced to flash out, but the damage from Rivals is there. The knockup only found one member. Of course, now Rivals is going to have to back away from the zombie passive of Neptune Rises. But overall, a very positive trade for Rivals here early in game 1. Going to pick up 2 kills. Both going to the top side, respectively. One for Mr. DK himself and one for Big Rev, Silent Assassin. With those buffs to electrocute. Looking really strong on this Zoe early. Salo and Silent going to be going at it for quite some time. Like I said, levels 1 through 3, expect a lot of action in this mid lane. Rivals going to be happy with how that level 1 started, as Salo using the W to avoid some of Silent's damage, but forced to flash away as Silent did opt for the Ignite. So LeBlanc going to be taken extremely low, Silent as well, but LeBlanc does have that TP available, so could absorb this wave and get right back onto the map. Silent going to walk the long way home. But so far, other than that level 1 invade, which did go Rivals' way, about as expected. Looking across the board in terms of runes and summoner spells, Star Burrito opting for the Aftershock Maokai as opposed to the... So we saw a little bit of a trade there, as opposed to the Phase Rush. Interesting. A lot of people opting for the Phase Rush just because it gives them a little bit more maneuverability in team fights and skirmishes. Star Burrito doesn't want none of that, just wants to be able to tank enough to help out her team. And then I would say pretty stock standard across the board. Outside of that, looks like BK is going to be going the crit build with that press the attack. Death Knight trying to make sure that his wave is secure in the top side of the map. Big Rev already up a camp here. Going to be able to pick up this Scuttle uncontested, especially with the help of his bot lane push that he has as Death Knight and Neptune. Trading heavily here. But I don't expect either of these top laners to die, especially because DK has no mana. 4 minutes into the game here, Rivals off to 1,000 gold lead just from the pushing power of top and then those kills that did happen at level 1. If you're playing the scaling comp though, which Plasma Wolves is, 1,000 gold really isn't that much to be worried about. As, oh, Death Knight immediately getting back onto the top side of the map. Meanwhile, on the bot side of the map, CB and BK is trading aggressively here into Aoka and Nike Dragon. Nike Dragon doesn't have the flash available. It gets out with his life with a good barrier. Silent Assassin, the Q, does hit the minion wave of Rivals, but will be stunned up by CB. Rivals bot lane doing their best to outplay the early gank from Silent Assassin, but it doesn't look like there's enough in the tank. Silent Assassin picking up a kill. Aoka picking up the other. So the kills have been knotted up even 2-2. Nice stuff from Plasma there, using the tempo to secure themselves a gank on bot side. Looks like Star Burrito has started up that dragon as well. Big Rev on the top side of the map. CB pinging, and it looks like going to be coming up there as well. Going to contest the grubs, especially with this push that DK has acquired. So it looks to be a trade of neutrals. We'll have to see though, because there's going to be plenty of time for Plasma Wolves to respawn, as they did pretty much pick up this dragon on spawn. When we were looking at the stats between these two teams, it did seem like the dragons were heavily in favor of this Plasma Wolves organization. And when you're playing a scaling comp, being able to pick up that first Drake goes a long way to kind of ensure that the late game goes your way like you want it to. So gonna be feeling really nice having picked up that early Infernal. Meanwhile, Rivals gonna get a little bit of a gold lead as well as some pushing power with these 3 grubs. Silent Assassin looking extremely comfortable on this Zoe, getting the better of Salo. But Death Knight is here. The Q does come from CB, but it looks like they just want to secure the wave. BK is a level advantage on Nike Dragon. Of course, CB did take that roam. Going to be 2 levels down to Janna, and BK's has to be careful here. Mid has been shoved. And 4 members of Plasma Wolves are on the bottom side of this map. BK's does have the flash available to him. Wasn't used the last time Silent Assassin came on down here. The wave has been shoved, but BK is taking a ton of damage. Gonna start the back here. We'll have to see if MF is able to get it off. Looks like she will be able to. CB gotta do his best to absorb that wave, get some experience, catch on back up in levels. Really good stuff from both these teams so far. Clean understanding of what they're trying to do and accomplish. Plasma Wolves immediately making that gank pay dividends, picking up 2 kills and a dragon to boot. While Rivals doing the smart thing, covering the opposite side of the map, picking up those neutral objectives. So the tempo that was made for Plasma Wolves bot side, Jarvan was able to secure about a 2-camp lead. And we've been talking a little bit about the mid lane matchup. Silent Assassin seems like he's always getting the better of the trades, but Salo looks like he's been able to manipulate the wave maybe a little bit more effectively. About 10 CS up in that lane. Level 6s coming out soon. Star Burrito just ticks over to 6 after that red buff secure. Big Rev, we'll say a half a level lead, is in the bot side of this map and went, I believe, undetected. Looks like the play is to use this bottom lane prio to run into the blue side of Star Burrito. Star Burrito doing the right thing, picking out the blue buff that isn't there, unfortunately for her. Rev definitely making use of that tempo he secured after that bot lane gank. Gonna be a little bit ahead, as we see he's playing for the Grump as well. Ping's coming out. Plasma Wolves knows Janna is on her way, but Salo, it's got to be careful. Star Burrito is here. Uses the clone bounce back, and Salo might have just inted there. Ooh, can he get out? Big Rev and crew are trying their best. A flash from Big Rev, and an EQ and an ult means a shutdown goes towards the Jarvan, and now it's 2 beefcakes beating up on a tree in this cataclysm. Star Burrito forced to flash away. 1 for 1 overall. But Big Rev off to the races here. 2-0-1 on this Jarvan. Gonna be able to pick up a plate as well. BK's does have to be careful, as his laner is no longer there. But with all the roams that CB has been making, BK is able to pick up just as much as farm as Nike Dragon, which is some pretty good stuff from the Rivals bot laner. I think, yeah, of course, Feats of Warfare did go Red's way. So now it's going to be up to Rivals if they really want to play for the Feats of Strength to pick up the first tower, as well as 3 epic neutrals. But the tower push, if there's a tower that's going to go down early. It looks like it's going to be that Rivals bot tower. We'll have to follow what happens. Asalo finds a nice little trade on to Silent Assassin. Big Rev will suss out Ayoka and Star Burrito, working in tandem to clear out some of the Rivals' vision. Silent Assassin has a bubble angle, but doesn't hit Big Rev. Big Rev maybe baiting out that bubble. Will be a cooldown that is unavailable to Silent for a little bit. Dragon is up. It looks like river control has been gathered by Big Rev. Big Rev has the Cataclysm available. Doesn't find Nike Dragon as Nike Dragon does flash out, but two members of Plasma Wolves are already down off of a big ult from Big K's himself. TP expended by Death Knight, a little bit over eager. I don't think he was needed there, and he's gonna hustle on up there to top lane to make sure the Scion doesn't get any more gold than necessary. Salo is here with CB. CB does time the Q perfectly, but the ult a little wide. Meanwhile, Death Knight finding lots of good damage into Neptune Rises. Not going to be enough to kill the Scion, but definitely enough to make him back off. And so far, so good for the Rivals squad. I say that, but a zap did hit BK, so BK's gonna have to be playing extremely careful here. The grub's already set up by Big Rev. If secured, will means that those epic monster hunter feat will go Rivals' way. Then it comes down to whoever gets that first tower. Salo taking a huge amount of damage by Silent Assassin, but ultimately Salo comes up the victor, finding the solo bolo. And Salo 20 CS up here. It was all Silent Assassin early, but Salo has held his own. The grubs were picked up. Rocket gotta go just wide of Big Rev, so no crazy Jinx shenanigans there. This gold lead, only about a 2,000 gold lead for Rivals. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at the individual gold. I say that. But there's a gank happening in the top lane. Big Rev forcing out the flash of Neptune Rises. A great Cataclysm means that Neptune Rises won't be able to ult out. Instead, goes back on to the middle lane. And that is all that. I forgot to do this earlier. Salo looking aggressively onto Neptune Rises. I don't believe there's enough damage between Big Rev and Salo. This is a bad fight for Rivals. Big Rev immediately pops. Nice kill secured by the Plasma Wolves. A little bit over aggression from the side of Rivals, trying to chase Neptune on that Scion. DK though does make use of the tempo, secures a plate, and some really good chip damage on that top turret. There we go. Apologies for the overlay there. I swear I know what I'm doing. Looking at these early items, the Bloodthirster secured by BK is giving a little bit of survivability, especially into the burst damage from that Zoe. It's Nike Dragon. Got ult to stop the back of Salo. Tempo killer. Salo so close to going down, but did not. The Yuntal picked up by that Jinx, further cementing the idea that this Plasma Wolves teams really wants to scale. And an Eclipse from Jarvan means the Jarvan gonna have plenty of fighting power. 3-1 and 2 on Big Rev. In a good spot. As Nike Dragon doing their best to 1v2 the Rivals bot lane. They don't know that it's a 1v3. Jarvan is here. They do know now as CB does the right thing. Wow, eating the Maokai ultimate. The ultimate gonna secure a kill from Salo as well. Salo flashing forward. That's a double kill off of a great TP from the Rivals mid laner. And if you look across the map, all things are favored Rivals right now. The top lane push, the bot lane aggression. It looks like a dive could develop here instead. Sights are set on Star Burrito, a great EQ. Cataclysm forces out the flash from Star Burrito, but Star Burrito has nowhere left to run. Ultimate from Janna only delays the inevitable Salo, a rampage on the LeBlanc. 4-1 and 4. So now if you're Plasmos, you are playing the scaling comp, but you've been hit in the mouth repeatedly here off of a great TP from Salo. You want to slow this game down, but you want to slow it down too much because of all the objectives that Riot has added into this game. Interesting ult from Neptune Rises. Won't be able to get the wave because eating the ultimate of the Jinx. Neptune Rises actually going to be able to get the execute off. Just kidding. Death Knight is still here. Does mean Neptune does get the wave though, so utilizing the Scion passive correctly. A little bit of Bowson's Law coming at you on the Rift here. And week 5 of LXC Sentinel. But that is Warfare. Or sorry, not Warfare. The first tower going Rivals' way. So, feats of strength secured by the Rivals squad. A nice little bonus, of course. You know, just about 1,000 gold is the value of those upgraded boots. Don't expect them to come out until after maybe the third item's completed for these carries. But if you're Rivals, you have to be very excited about how this early game has started to develop. As we cross 17 minutes and 40 seconds, Rivals sights set on this Rift Herald. And if you're Plasmolove, it doesn't look like they're in a position to contest. Star Burrito hanging around, trying to make something out of nothing. It would be wild if this little alpaca gets the steal. Does not. And Death Knight immediately going on to Star Burrito here. Doesn't know the Silent Assassin is waiting in the wings, so a lot of damage coming out from that. Zoe gonna make DK think twice. And back on up to his top lane. Neptune Rises uncontested on the bot means the bot tower probably should go down. Rivals going to turn their sights on the top as Salo is here. Interesting that they don't actually try to get the tower. Pings are coming out, so Udi are going to back off and pick up that wave that's basically bleeding bot. Salo finding a load of damage in a Silent Assassin. Silent's going to have to back off. This should be tower secured for Rivals. Death Knight just needs to pick up... Oh, just kidding. CB is here. Neptune Rises is going to do his best to get away. Has to burn the flash, but does. So Neptune Rises going to be a continual menace on these side lanes if Rivals lets him. Rivals going to have to shore up the lane appropriations. Appropriations? I don't think that's the right word. The lane assignments. Salo is here. Star Burrito might be caught out. Will be rooted up. Salo has plenty of time to pick up some gummies. Put up some chip damage. Ooh, BK's ult goes wide. Husky. He's thinking of you. And so I don't think... Oh, just kidding. This is why I don't think. Star Burrito goes down. Salo knew how much damage was in the LeBlanc's kit and does secure this kill. And really, you know, a lot of the tempo that has been created by this Rivals squad did come off of that bot lane gank. You know, so many resources. Silent Assassin and Star Burrito did go down there to secure those 2 early kills for Plasma Wolves. But since then, Big Rev and the rest of this Rivals crew has been able to track Star Burrito and kind of put her down. About 40 CS down in the jungle is always tough when you're that far behind. The good news is Burrito is not playing for herself. She is playing for her team. So the ultimate is still going to be doing a lot for the Plasma Wolves team fight. But nonetheless, it always feels kind of bad. You're going to be able to pick up that wave, shoved in by Neptune Rises. And here's one of these brief reprieves you get in new League of Legends. Otacon has spawned on that top side, but this is a buff, or sorry, a monster you don't really want to take when all 5 members are available to both teams. As BK is going to be trading heavy into the Janna. Thinks twice of it. And going to back off. Neptune Rises will be spotted out by that ward he is clearing. Meanwhile, rivals are all on bot side, and it looks like Salo is going to be the rivals member that this Plasma Wolves team is playing for. With a LeBlanc, oh so slippery. Neptune taking a ton of turret damage. And Rivals said, go ahead and chase the LeBlanc. We're just going to start cracking open your base. They do have the 6 grubs available, so this should be the inhibitor turret going down. And if Nike Dragon and Aoka aren't careful, they could fall as well. This is going to be a 22-minute inhib and a tier 2 bot lane to boot for this rival squad off of an ill-advised play from Plasma Wolves. Great understanding of macro from rivals in that situation. Dragon going to be started up by rivals off the back of this play as well. And that will be their sole point secured. And for a team that has an Udyr and a Jarvan and a LeBlanc, Cloud Soul really isn't that bad. Going to be able to move around the map effectively. BK is sticking to level 13 there. About to level up on Nike Dragon. Meanwhile, across the board, levels about even, except for, like we were talking about, the CS differential in jungle. Big Rev about 2 levels. We'll call it a level and a half up on Star Burrito. Uh-oh, Neptune Rises, forced to ult, but he doesn't know that the rest of the rival squad is here. Great Cataclysm from Big Rev means that Neptune has nowhere to go. And that is a zombie Scion. Going to be stunned up by the Braum passives as well. And now, Otacon on the table for this rivals team. And Death Knight doing a little bit of a reconnaissance mission, some scouting there. Knows that most of the Plasma Wolves members are on bot. So it looks like Plasma Wolves going to not contest this Otacon instead. They're going to play for the mid lane instead. Jinx Rocket is available. Will it be stolen? Ooh. Close but not quite from Nike Dragon. And Rivals really just running the map right now. A nice response by Plasma Wolves should net themselves a tier 1, but 6 towers to 2, 6 grubs to none, 3 drakes to 1. It's been all objectives all the time for Rivals. Death Knight does have the withdraw available. Would be kind of silly to waste it here. Instead, pops that W. Got to heal on back up. Go match Scion. Baron spawning in 20 seconds. And Rivals has a nice looking wave on the top side there if they want to push for that tier 2. Pings are coming out on the Baron. Now Rivals looks a little hesitant on what they want to do. It looks like ultimately the call is going to be Baron. I'm agreeing with CB. I believe that tower probably should have gone down, especially because this team does have 6 grubs. But really, Rivals trying to play it safe, not get caught out. I understand the thinking here. And two-manning this Baron is a little sneaky, forcing the members of Plasma Wolves to respond. But I don't know if Plasma Wolves really know that this is happening. Jinx ult does come out, eaten up by the shield from CB. This Baron down to 1500. No contest from Plasma Wolves, and this is just it's been a lot given by this Plasma Wolves squad. And I know they're trying to scale, but at what point are you giving up the game? Plasma Wolves, of course, one of the top teams in a Sector 1. So they probably know what they're doing more than I know what they're doing. But it is interesting to watch as this tier 2 is under fire. Will go down once again uncontested. Big Rev gonna eat that Q for the mid laner. Death Knight stunned up under this tower. I don't think he knew that he was taking damage, but Big Rev knows the Otacon buff is still in Rival's back pocket. They're using this buff. They're grabbing turrets. They're gonna chase down the remaining members of Plasma Wolves. Looks like it's just gonna be the inhib instead. Oh, a great EQ flash from Big Rev. Forces out the flash from Nike Dragon. That's a withdraw for the LeBlanc, but that's LeBlanc going godlike. 15-4. The kill score line for this Rival squad. All three inhibs down. The base is under fire. And can Rivals win the game in 27 minutes? Pings are coming out. The TP is flying. Big Rev is queuing and Eing. Rivals going to take a 27-minute game 1 against Plasma Wolves. Wow. What a game. What a game from Rivals. Really finding tempo off of plays that Plasma Wolves were making. We think of the gank in the bot lane early. Big Rev able to secure an individual lead from that. And then the trying to chase down and dive a LeBlanc basically netted them the rest of the game, being able to crack open that mid inhibitor. So really good awareness and sense of macro from this Rivals team. I am going to get into the lobby and we'll see where both of these teams are going to line up for game 2. But yeah, really strong showing from this Rival squad. They knew that scaling was the name of the game for that Plasma Wolves roster, that Plasma Wolves team comp, and said, you guys can scale into game 2 because we're just going to close it out in game 1. Plasma Wolves, of course, like I keep saying, one of the stronger teams of Sector 1. I expect them to bounce back. A little bit of a warm-up game for them. And I'm sure that they're going to give Rivals everything that they can handle in game 2. See which side Plasma Wolves is going. They opt to take blue side, so I will set this up. And we should be in a draft game 2 shortly, after which we'll take a quick intermission. And then we'll be back for game 2. But I think we could squeeze draft in here. Predictions for those of you that did them. Rivals picking up the win. I don't think they got any money back from those predictions. There was no competing bets, but nevertheless, there are your shurikens. Yeah, rather convincing win from this Rival squad in game 1. Good stuff from them. Plasma Wolves gonna have a lot to think about. You know, the level 1 advantage went Rivals' way, even though Plasma Wolves were ready for it. Just came down to a little bit of a misplay. And then after that, you know, Rivals were just able to carve out tempo after tempo play. Gave it the first strike, but then after that first strike was given, It was all rivals on the objectives, so Plasma was gonna see if they can put maybe some more early game into these team comps that they're drafting, or something else. I don't know. It's up to them to decide how to approach this game too. We'll already see something different with them going to be lining up on blue side in this game. Ready checks are coming out, so I expect draft to be starting soon, which that means I got work to do. Make sure everybody's in order. And that the scores are accurate. Huh. I say accurate, and I definitely put in the wrong score, so it's a good thing draft didn't start. Ready checks are coming through. And apologies for no music. It was working. I swear I have all these technical difficulties. But you guys don't care about the music. We care about the draft. Oh, okay. There we go. There's the music. Udyr gonna be banned away. DK Death Knight was looking very comfortable into that matchup that Neptune Rises presented him. Plasma doesn't want to deal with that flex. Oriana, strong pick for Salo, gonna be banned away this time as well. Same bans for rivals. Blue side does not change their philosophy. They do not want Ayoko on the Milio and the Lulu. What will Plasma Wolves round out their banning phase with? Think about this last game. BK's looked very comfortable on the Myth's Fortune. Said it's gonna be Jinx. Banned away. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder if that changes Rivals draft philosophy here on red. I wonder if they'll opt to ban the MF. Wonder if they'll leave it up and instead ban the Amumu, the Maokai. It's gonna be the Wukong banned away from Star Burrito. Let's see. Plasma Wolves opting into blue side for this game. We talked about the need for an early game presence. Tristana definitely fits that bill for an aggressive bot lane. So Tristana going to be picked by Plasma Wolves. Of course, a favorite of BK, so also taken away from him. How will Rivals respond? Mumu is going to be the pickup for this Rivals squad. A pick that Star Burrito has played in the past. So we'll have to see how Star Burrito does adjust. A couple of her favorites so far on Sentinel are available. So I think Plasma Wolves are just fine in that department. Nyla. Don't know how you pronounce it. I'm going to go Nyla. That's what I've always been saying. But Nyla going to be picked up by this Rivals squad, which actually is a pretty nice counter into Tristana. Tristana pops the on Nyla's forehead, but the autos won't come through if countered correctly by BKs. Nyla, though, a champ that could be easily countered, or Braum could definitely be one of those. wants to play aggressively, and Braum says, go ahead, show me your aggression. I'll show you a brick wall. And Braum going to be locked in for Aoka and Plasma Wolves. How does Plasma Wolves round out their first phase of draft? I imagine they're thinking jungler here, but perhaps they have a takeaway in mind for mid or top, a flex that they've been working on. Who knows? We should find out here. And it's going to be Sedge locked in for Star Burrito. Of course, Sedge could be, once upon a time, flex top. Don't know how common that is anymore. Expect it to go the jungle route, so some Freljord action for this Plasma Wolves comp. Braum and Sejuani locked in. Rivals R3, plenty of flexibility on this pick. One of the reasons why red is so valuable in terms of draft. It's going to be an RE takeaway from Plasma Wolves. Silent Assassin will not be able to get their hands on it. Does Rivals give some coverage bands to this RE? Silent Assassin early on in lane looked really good on that Zoe, but just afterwards, once that laning phase was over, couldn't really get anything done with Rivals playing with so much tempo. The Echo going to be banned away from Silent Assassin, one of his favorites. Xante hovered in response by Plasma Wolves. And I think they're just using this time to discuss what their further priorities are. As the timer does expire, Xante will be banned away. Rivals, what will their response be? I think I know what they're going to go with. We'll see, though. It is Mord banned away from Neptune Rises. Rel going to be the final ban for Plasma Wolves. Of course, pretty decent into the Braum. So what will Rivals pair with this Nyla? I assume they're going to be picking support here at 4. It's going to be a Taric. Locked in. Taric, Nyla, of course. One might consider a stock standard combo for these two champions. Offers a lot of aggression, even in the eyes of the Braum. We'll see how well this Rivals squad is able to pilot the deadly duo. Aurora going to be hovered by Plasma Wolves. Was banned away by this team in game 1. Have the opportunity to pick it, and they do. So lots of skirmishing locked in for Plasma Wolves. A total departure from the philosophy we saw in game 1. Flash Panda, thank you for the follow. Rivals organization does appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy this stream of LXC Sentinel Week 5. Final Fox ADC, we also appreciate your support. Thank you so much for the follow. Cho'Gath going to be the final lock for this Plasma Wolf team. So a nice 4-1, 1-3-1, depending how you look on it, for Plasma Wolves. But I expect for them to, like I say, flip their script from game 1 and look to be a little bit more aggressive into the aggression that Rivals showed. And it's going to be Alawi, the counter into the Cho'Gath, a favorite of Death Knights. Looking at these two squads, I like Plasma Wolves' team fight. I definitely like their skirmish and pick potential if they're able to get ahead early and control the vision. Rivals has a really nasty team fight though, if done correctly, and if Plasma Wolves has to walk into them. Plasma Wolves kind of lacking that snap engage outside of the Sejuani ultimate. And if Alawi is able to set up on around an objective, combined with the Taric ultimate, with the Amumu and the Nyla, could be a scary thought for this Plasma Wolves team, especially if Rivals is able to get ahead like they did in Game 1. We will have to see, though. Plasma Wolves playing a little bit newer of a style than we're used to seeing. Like we talked about, average game time for them, about 36 minutes, 3 minutes slower than Rivals. They really like to scale, and so this is kind of a little bit of a departure. Of course, Cho'Gath does scale. You can argue he scales infinitely with his ultimate. Aurora scales as well, but this bot side trio of Braum, Tristana, and Sejuani going to be their early game focus. Probably. We'll have to see. Rivals picked themselves a nice little team fight comp. It's going to just come down to execution for them. Denying vision, setting up vision, being at the objective first. And seeing what this Plasma Wolves has in store, because, you know, game 1 was close until it wasn't. And then it was over kind of in the blink of an eye, 27 minutes. So really good stuff from Rivals. I'm going to show you guys the stats. This was before that game 1 was played, how these two teams compare. Then, of course, the unofficial LXC rankings of each of these players. Like I said, I expected this series to be close. Game 1 might be an anomaly, but it's up to Rivals to secure a clean 2-0, which would be 4 straight losses for Plasma Wolves. Or can Plasma Wolves right the ship and pick themselves up a win and force a game 3? We will have to see. I'm gonna throw the predictions up for you once again. Plasma Wolves and Rivals. You guys saw the comps. Got 5 minutes to predict. Last time, all of you predicted Rivals, and all of you were correct. So, kudos to you. We're just awaiting the rest of this pick and ban phase. Can Rivals secure a 2-0 sweep, or can Plasma Wolves force the game 3? Ad's gonna start up. I don't have any snoozes available, so here in 50 seconds, you're gonna get this ad. If you're not a fan of ads, please do subscribe. It would go a long way to supporting the content for Rivals. If you like watching abs, then watch them too, because that goes not as long of a way, but does still support Rivals. Yeah, I expect a more competitive game 2, for sure. Plasma Wolves might have a chip on their shoulder now, something to prove after losing 3 straight, 2 to OTLO in the cross-division matchup, and then this first game to Rivals. Don't expect them to go down without a fight, but Rivals playing oh so clean, especially with their macro decisions in that mid-game in game 1. Gonna be tough to beat. We will have to see on the flip side of this break. We're gonna be back after a quick intermission. Be right back.
to Summoner's Rift. 30 seconds until minions spawn.
I've been talking this whole time. I'm sorry, chat. I promise I know what I'm doing.
Outrageous.
But alas, this is game 2 between these two squads. You saw the 5-point there from both of these teams after the level 1 from game 1. Final Fox, the rank cap, I believe, to start the league was Emerald 4, and I think they've been able to climb up to Emerald 3 since after week 4. This is the bot lane that Rivals opted for last game. The Baram Tristana, a Silent Assassin, once again trading early and often into Salo, Nike. Sorry, Neptune. I'm going to try to be playing the tentacle clearing minigame here on this top side. Both the mid laners tick over to level 2 simultaneously. The charm goes wide. But the Q does follow. So really, Silent Assassin and Salo living up to their billing. Push went to the Tristana's way, of course. But it looks like BK is going to absorb most of this wave. So really no huge advantages outside of what we're seeing develop here in the top side, as DK's does find the Soul Steal, whatever you want to call it. I don't know ability names. I'm just here for fun, man. But I expect this to go Alawi's way for most, if not all, of this landing phase. Q, the Rupture does land, but Neptune Rises has to be careful with how aggressive he trades here. Soul does go down, which means tentacles are respawning. Level 3 for both of these bot lane duos. Q just a little bit outside, and Neptune just not having fun. DK gonna shove this wave in. Doesn't have any mana. I expect the back to come out. And that's all she wrote. Tempo favoring Star Burrito. Looks like both of these junglers are going to find out each other. Big Rev, though, taking the worst of these trades. A flash only delays the inevitable. I spoke too soon! First blood for Salo. Wow, what a play from the mid-jung duo of Rivals. Salo forcing the flash and does find the charm. Will this be 2 kills? No. Silent Assassin forced to flash away, but man, what a play. As the stun does land from CB the Barbarian, BK's goes aggressive. This is the time for the bot lane duo of Rivals. They pick up the kill, and BK is going to flash out. Ayoka does find a trade. Interesting, Nike Dragon didn't decide to flash there. Nevertheless, 2 kills early to these carries for Rivals. More of the same. As the back wasn't stopped, Neptune Rises now going to be traded aggressively into by DK on the Salawi. This Cho'Gath just not having fun. And if you are a Rivals believer, you got to be happy with the start that your team is showing. $500 gold, the difference between these two squads. Basically just the difference of 2 kills. As a great charm from Salo does find Silent Assassin while they were W'd. The Q comes forward, the W and the auto, and that is red team Rivals securing the feats of warfare. once again, first dragon going the way of Plasma Wolves, following the same script like they had from game 1. This time, they're getting aggressive off the back of that play. Rev, of course, doing the counter jungling thing. Sights are going to be set on the grubs. Star Burrito looking to cross over. Maybe. Nope. Just going to stop for the Raptors. So once again, we'll see the neutrals traded. And Salo, a level up already, did hit the charm. Silent Assassin taken low. Star Burrito is here to cover. Ult forced from Silent Assassin, but won't find a kill. Salo looking very aggressive in that fancy Ari skin. Shout out to the GOAT himself, Mr. Faker. The stun was a little too easy to hit for BKs. And CB flashing forward. That's going to be a kill secured for the Rivals duo. Dubstep Ignite. I don't think BKs is mad about that one. Big Rev taking a losing trade, it looks like. But last time I was baited, so was Star Burrito. So Star Burrito backs off. Didn't know where the Ari was. So 4 kills to 1 for this Rivals squad. And Nike Dragon not looking too comfortable on the Tristana. Had the opportunity to flash, last engage, didn't. Had the opportunity to buffer, this engage, didn't. As Salo making use of the mid lane, Prio forcing off Star Burrito of her neutral, or not even neutral, her blue buff. Rev going to be the beneficiary of that, and that does mean that the Mumu has a little bit of a curse in store for this Plasma Wolf squad as well. Nike Dragon did find BKs, but BKs trading aggressively does pop the barrier. Not going to be enough. Barrier from Nike in response does secure that kill. That was a ballsy play by Nike, doing that with no vision, but it does net a kill and some tempo for the Plasma Wolves bot side. My apologies. Don't have the timers available. Star Burrito is here, but being pinged off by Neptune. Neptune looks like he was typing. Hopefully they're in the same voice call. As Star Burrito now is caught out, and tilt coming through. It looks like from the top laner of Plasma Wolves. And if he's tilted now, just wait until a potential dive does come through. Big Rev takes an unnecessary tower shot, as Ayoka did stop their back. So Neptune Rises has the ultimate. The charm hits. Q not even needed from Big Rev. Big Rev does go down. A shutty for Neptune Rises on the Cho'Gath. Consolation prize, as that Cho'Gath has 22 farm here. 9 minutes in. Silent Assassin, oh no! Use the E, didn't want to. Then flashing forward to try to get aggressive, I think. And this Plasma Wolves team playing out of sync, to say the least. Nike Dragon trading aggressively into BKs. The stun will land on Ayoka. However, I don't think the Braum is the target. A nice Tristana ultimate will secure some wiggle room, some maneuverability. But a good use of the Tark ultimate secures BK's own life. Big Rev is here. Star Burrito going to be caught out. Both these junglers are aware of each other's presence. But that is some tempo created by Plasma Wolves if they try to play for this dragon. But Nike Dragon has it backed. BK's has the flash available. No ultimates from any of the bot laners of either of these teams. But it looks like, and can you blame them? Rival is trying to secure 6 grubs with a Alawi that is firmly in the driver's seat of this top lane. As the charm does go wide. Nice little play from Silent Assassin, but a good Q from Salo, and this Ari is so far ahead that I don't expect anything else to really come of this potential gank. Burrito opting not to use the ultimate. And Rivals gonna look to give another dragon. Gonna secure 6 grubs for this split pushing Alawi. And almost 3,000 gold up. Rivals playing very well here in this series against the Plasma Wolves. Uh-oh, BK's in CB. I'm not sure that they wanted to take this fight. Oh, a flash forward from Salo to try to find a Silent Assassin. The Glacial Prison goes wide. BK is going to be next on the chopping block. That's 2 quick kills for Plasma Wolves. That's a TP from Neptune Rises, which means feats of strength are going to go Rivals' way. Interesting decision from the Plasma Wolves top laner. A little bit of a hiccup from Rivals, of course, giving those kills. I would imagine it was pretty clear that they weren't trying to contest that dragon, but at the end of the day, it is feats of strength for the Rivals squad. Alawi is incredibly strong. Cho'Gath did get that shut down off of a botched tower dive from Rivals, but Rivals firmly in the driver's seat here, about 3,000 gold up. The Alawi already has the Black Cleaver to her name. 6 grubs in her pocket. Dare I say a Hullbreaker might come out from Death Knight. We will have to see, but plenty of pushing power already for the Rivals top laner. Interesting lane assignments from the Plasma Wolves. I will say Silent Assassin probably has a better time trying to deal with this Alawi push than the Cho'Gath, but Cho'Gath still going to be left out worse for wear into the Ahri. Pings are coming out, telling Rivals mid Salo to get the heck out of dodge. Burrito might be on her way. A nice stun. A Q flash, Big Rev. What a play from this Rivals team. Blinkety miss it. Nike Dragon just got chain CC'd to death. Next up is the Braum. Just trying their best. And Rivals playing with calculated aggression. A wonderful play. Big Rev on this Amumu looking oh so nice. Star Burrito doing all they can to stop the siege from this rival squad, but 6 grubs were taken. And that's about a 4,000 gold lead for Rivals after all is said and done. Tower plate is going to go down here in a couple of seconds. The damage has been done. Rivals once again controlling the early game. Rinse and repeat from what we saw in game 1. Q does land. 2 minutes until the dragon. Now, I will say, dragon stacking has gotten in favor of Plasma Wolves. But you think the tools are all available for Rivals to contest this Drake. Honestly, it would be kind of silly by them not to, but we'll have to see what ends up happening. And if you're Plasma Wolves, the spot lane you picked didn't really work out. The Shoshana getting that collector, I mean, one item's better than none, but at this point, what can the Shoshana really do? I'm not too sure. The Amumu, Big Rev, has been controlling the tempo of both of these games off of really razor-thin margins for these plays. That first blood from Big Rev and Salo was beautiful. The contest on blue side was nice. The dive left a little bit to be desired, but that's okay. We are playing Platinum Milo, basically. As Salo Does find the charm. That's going to be a lot of damage into Silent Assassin. Already below 50% HP. Salo does have the ult available. Flash coming off a cooldown quickly as well. I imagine that this is going to be bots tier 1 going down for Rivals. And Neptune Rises has just not had fun this game. Counterpicked heavy. Left out to dry. And an interesting decision from Star Burrito and Nike Dragon means that a fight has started. But Big Rev going to find all members of Plasma Wolves, and this is going to be an easy 2 kills for BKs. I imagine Rival is going to try to make it 3. The Q does come through. Big Rev instead finds the kill. Flash for flash in the bot lane, and this is all Rivals. Rivals looking extremely strong, extremely in form right now. While Plasma Wolves floundering a little bit. A cheeky flash Q from Death Knight doesn't net the kill. With no mana available, I expect the Alawi to dip on out of there. Off the back of that play, though, 2 towers go down in mid. Objective bounties are available for Plasma Wolves. The Rift Herald has been started up by Big Rev. Gonna get the fast back, and then they can contest Dragon. Ooh. Rev opting not to back. Looks like he's gonna look for a play topside. Not sure what's happening here. Oh, okay. Giving the top laner the threat for potential, honestly, an inhibitor take at this point. There's not a lot of damage coming out on this dragon. TP coming through from Salo. Plasma Wolves has to be careful here. They might get pinched in this choke point. The stun and Q do land. Star Burrito going to be going down. Oh no, a flash away does mean that the jungler's life is secure. But the rival squad wants to follow, and it does. 2 quick kills. I say quick. Star Burrito doing all they could to make that fight last as long as they could. And a nice a nice Rift Herald use means that the rupture went wide. And this is a ton of damage, a ton of objectives being taken, not only on the top side of the map, but a dragon secured for Rivals. And almost 1,000 gold lead. The ultimate popped by DK. Neptune Rises has to be careful here. Does have the flash available, but now Death Knight needs to be careful as 5 members of Plasma Wolves are closing in on his position. Big Rev queuing in, using the ultimate though, and it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, but I would say it's a little bit more worth for the Plasma Wolves because Rev did have that shutdown. So Rev's 2 deaths have netted 2 shutdowns for Plasma Wolves, but despite the hiccups, really good stuff from this Rivals jungler. And Rivals can't be happier with how this game has gone. 19 minutes in, about 1,000 gold up. Let's take a look at the individual gold advantages. About 400 for mid lane. Almost 3,000 for jungle. Top lane, up ahead 2.5, we'll say. Bot lane, you got about a little bit over 2,000 gold lead. And then support gold matters, about 1,000 up. Rival is definitely in control of this game too, looking to close out a clean 2-0 sweep into Plasma Wolves. Plasma Wolves, can they fight back? They can. Will they fight back? That has remained to be seen. Salo did get a little cheeky. Positioning there, but nothing came of it. And Otacon is on the table. Siege from Rivals, never ending. Silent Assassin, just going to be taken down from a nice flash ultimate from Big Rev. That's one member down from this Plasma Wolves squad. Do rivals fall back to Otacon? Ooh, a nice Q flash ult from Neptune Rises means Cho'Gath does get another kill on the board. This is going to be Big Rev going down as well. And so rivals playing a little bit too much with their food. But the cavalry is here. Salo gets one. The stun expertly dodged by Sar Burrito. But BK's was able to follow up the support. The ultimate comes through from Silent Assassin. But a great ultimate from CB meant no damage was there to follow. But now Nike Dragon looking like Mario. Jumping around. And some fight coming out from these Plasma Wolves members. All in all, only 2 remain for rivals. But even the one skirmish really isn't going to net this blue side much for the game. Wow. I mean, what can you say? I mean, nice play from Neptune and Star Burrito to pick up a couple kills. Good on rivals to follow up and answer. Ultimately, the trade went Plasma Wolves' way, which when you're this far behind, any winning trade feels extremely good. But with Dragon coming up in 30 seconds and Otacon on that bottom side as well, Plasma Wolves, with what little base they have to make sure that they don't give up these objectives for free, while also not letting Death Knight just walk into the base and win. What's going to be the call? Right now, the bot lane is just heavily controlled by rivals. Pings are coming out to get some support for these waves, make sure that they're matching. I wonder if they're just going to play for a free dragon. Looks like that's going to be the call. Death Knight needs to back up. Death Knight's going to be the objective for these Plasma Wolves members. They know that they can't contest the dragon. But Death Knight is really far ahead. Does have the ultimate available. Will use it. Going to make Neptune Rises and Star Burrito back up. Star Burrito using the ultimate does mean that Death Knight will go down. The charm does find Nike Dragon. Salo has one more use of the ultimate, does get it. The Braum passive unable to be popped, so while the dragon goes down, Death Knight does as well. And really just had no business being over there for so long. I will say, Otacon was secured by rivals, so kind of a 2-for-1 special. We trade our top laner, we get 2 nasty objectives. That's 2 Hextech Drakes stacking up for this rivals team. Plasma Wolves, though, doing a nice job of finding advantages where they can. Now, the remaining objective, the Baron. The Otacon buff is available for Big Rev. The flash from Star Burrito means that the boar and the woman will buy some time, but not enough. That's the jungler down. And that's the jungler down for Baron. Rivals has the opportunity for a 25-minute Baron start into a potential end here. Lo and behold, that's exactly what they're trying to do. Death Knight on the bottom side has a withdraw available. Might not have the flash, but it doesn't matter. He basically gets to push for free. Neptune Rises is here. Gonna play for the chomp. Rival is not gonna let him as CC after CC after CC comes down. Q hits multiple members, but not enough damage in the Cho'Gath kit to really do anything. It does mean that the Baron did reset. But Star Burrito's here on the bot side, which means Rivals knows nobody can contest. Baron secured. With Baron in tow, with this Otacon buff available. How fast can Rivals close this game out? Oh, a nice 2-man ultimate for Big Rev means Silent Assassin does go down. That's one member off the board for this Plasma Wolves team in the face of so many Baron Dub minions. Rivals could opt to play for a fight here. They could play it smart, just go down bot, make sure that the last inhib goes down. The agency is definitely in Rivals' favor as a Q does find Nike Dragon, but buffered very nicely from the Tristana. Ultimate forced out from Ayoka means no more of a play will happen. BK is flashing away. Shutdown for Nike Dragon on that Tristana. Death Knight is here though. Did TP in using the ultimate. Does Plasma Wolves have enough in the tank to make this comeback? I mean, the fight went their way, but look at all these Baron Dub minions. That's going to be game 2 for Rivals. A clean 2-0 sweep. Salo and CB able to finish off the game. Plasma Wolves lose back-to-back series 0-2. Got to go back to the drawing board, tinker around with some things, see what's going on. Because the wins haven't come the last 4 games. But I expect Plasma Wolves to bounce back eventually. That was a quick series, quicker than I expected. I expected this matchup to go basically either way, but it was definitely Rivals' way tonight. Looks like everybody's trying to get CB on. CB, it's been a hot minute since we've gotten you on a cast, it feels like. Will CB join? I see what I'm doing. Alright. I'm in the Discord. The interview opportunity is ready. Alright, CB.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the 2-0 win. I'm joined with HuskyBot here. I'm gonna do this interview. Was this the result you expected coming into this matchup with Plasma Wolves?
This is what I expected from our team.
Okay.
It's about 20% of what I expected from them.
All right. You want to expound upon that?
I have been high on Plasma Wolves all season.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
We both
caveat it
have.
with every team gets a bad week, blah blah blah. I don't know, man. That's if I'm comparing that game to all the official games that we've played, that was the easiest one.
Interesting.
So I don't know if it was draft or what, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I expected I even think my prediction between us two was a 3-game banger. So
Talking a little bit about those drafts, you mentioned it. Game 1, Plasma Wolves looked like they were trying to scale and then kind of like flip the script into like a mid-game comp. They stole your guys' bot lane, the Tristana Braum, in that game 2. Of course, game 1 it wasn't Tristana Braum, it was the MF. But I mean, for this Plasma Wolves team showing you very different drafts between the 2 games. I mean, what's going on over there? Are they going through an identity crisis right now? Are they unsure of how to approach you as a team? I mean, what can you really make of that? Given those different looks.
First game was weird. I mean, they didn't. I mean, they had a Zoe, I guess, has some damage, but I mean, we got the best mid laner on one of his best champs, so it's like Uno reverse. So after that, it was just like, they want to play to 50 minutes. Probably not gonna happen with how we're gonna play it. I don't know. I didn't like their team comp game 1. And then game 2, yeah, different draft from them. We knew going into it, it was like, okay, they're not playing scaling. We're a little bit weaker early, so let's just kind of see what they give us. Um, I mean, they took the Braum, but I don't know. We expected them to pick a little differently, so we were kind of surprised on how they drafted. I won't give away too much on it, but yeah, we knew we had to play a little bit slower early, and then bot lane. Once we actually did fight, we were like, oh, we're a little bit stronger than even we thought. So
I do
I don't know.
want to.
They gave us a lot of what we wanted.
Yeah, I want to let chat know that I can't. There's no snooze for me on these upcoming ads. So if you want to
Mm.
hear the rest of the interview, you're definitely gonna want to hit us with a prime or something. Otherwise, we're SOL. Otherwise, I would have tried to
I
push
got
it
it.
back, but yeah, I don't know why it's not letting me. Either way, yeah, I mean different looks from them between games 1 and game 2. Let's talk about the bot lane. You and BK is coming into the season. This is a new duo for you. Seems like every split you have a new bot laner
Yeah,
down
nobody
there
likes
with
me.
you. Nike Dragon and Aoka, very highly praised by both me and you, and in the Rivals
Hmm.
recap streams that we do. Getting a chance to lane into them. I mean, was did Nike live up to the billing? What's your your initial reaction after being able to play them?
It kind of felt like they were playing. They were playing a lot more passive than I anticipated them to do. I think they're still probably solid players, but I don't know, they just played pretty passive and let us do kind of whatever we wanted. Um, I mean, I guess they did more damage game 2 and whatnot. Took the Tristana. I don't know if that was kind of forced.
Hmm
I think they banned the Jinx,
They
maybe
banned the Jinx,
game
which was
1.
interesting. Game two,
Um,
game two they
or
did.
game 2, yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just people are drafting weird against them and banning weird, because I feel like it's pretty clear on who to ban against them. And with the bans that we did, I don't know. I don't want to say they played. I don't know. They let me down. They let me down. I expected more of a fight. It's not like we like hard stomped in lane or anything like that. Not saying that. Stats are actually pretty close game 2.
Hmm
Um, but I don't know. We were chilling. We were chilling. I
You're
didn't see their
chilling.
jungler very much, so.
Yeah, I mean, talk a little bit about between games 1 and game 2. Big Rev having a really nice week this week, able to find a lot of tempo game 1, and then game 2. Some of the plays that he was making, that first blood was crazy. Big Rev, of course, new to the Rivals organization, showing up big here this week. I mean, talk a little bit about the calls, especially in game 1, right? It seemed like every play Plasma was trying to make, you guys just answered and took basically like 5 times the gold that they were able to net off of the plays that they were trying to do.
Yeah, I think we had really good comms both games. Probably one of our best games, if not our best series. And a lot of talking about not only we were able to early track their jungler
Mhm.
pretty well, but we had a pretty clear game plan on how we wanted to coordinate Rev with it. Shout out to Rev for getting his games done. Shout out to Plasma Wolves for sliding in the DMs of the admins trying to get us to FF. They wanted that little free win, but maybe they were banking on that. I don't know. But nah, Rev got his games in, and I mean he's willing to play whatever. And we took away the J4. We kind of thought uh, they might try to prio J4 one of the games and the Amumu one of the games, but I don't know. Again, giving Rev what he wants, and he's willing to play what the team needs. So we'd love to see it.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I have for you, CB. You got anything to shout out? Let everybody know while we won't see each other until the next Rivals recap. Who knows when that's gonna happen?
Yeah, who knows? We're just bouncing around days. We'll see. Maybe do a poll or something. Um, I don't know how many. I got a question. How many laps does Husky have to do before he gets the cast again? That's the first question.
He's working, man. He's 40-year-old man. He's got bills to pay.
True, true, true. I'll say quick side shout out to Husky and the Rivals Gold team. So they're running that
Okay.
back in the Merc League. Husky captain that team with some returning players. And then on my team, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know who to pick out because it's like shout out to the whole team because that was like
You guys showed up.
kind of high key, low key, some stomps. I mean, I don't know how long game 2. Oh, so 2 27-minute games. I mean,
Yeah.
so no, shout out to everybody on the team because we got a roster that wants to play and is down to play whatever we need. So, yeah, everybody can be participation MVP this week.
All right, I do have one final question.
Uh,
Game or week 1, the Blizzard diff. If that doesn't
Uh-oh.
happen, would Rivals be undefeated right now?
that doesn't happen. Yes.
Okay.
I say yes. Now, if we play like Italy a different week, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, we're definitely undefeated. Italy's definitely the best team we've played.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to them. Week 1 feels like game 1 we had in control, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. A loss is a loss. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I expect them to win out, assuming they won today, and keep the first seed, and we'll hang out right behind them in second seed, I assume.
We'll have to see. Got a couple more weeks left in Sentinel before playoffs, but NLE and of course you guys setting yourselves up nicely. They're tied atop the leaderboards.
Yep.
CB, appreciate the interview. Congratulations on, we'll call it a surprising 2-0 win in terms of how easily it seemed to come to you guys. But congratulations nonetheless. Good luck next week. Things get a little bit more spicy. You got to win out to make sure you still stay atop
True,
the leaderboards, the standings there. But
Yep.
I mean, if you guys play like you did tonight, I don't see why that wouldn't happen.
That's the game plan.
That's the game plan. All right, TB. You have a nice night. Everybody else have a nice night as well. I'm going to close this stream. I still don't have, CB, you got to send me a thank you for watching thing that you use. I don't know what you use. It's going to go to the intermission screen. But that is the end of the stream. We hope you guys enjoyed this cast. Congratulations to Rivals, of course, for their 2-0 victory. And we will see you sometime in the upcoming week for the Rivals recap stream. Y'all have a good night. Take care. Farewell.